The Earnestly Speaking Podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Earnestly Speaking Podcast, recording this Thursday evening at about 6:45 p.m. For the Friday show. How you guys doing? As I try to, there it is. So wow, we got 2 solo podcasts in, and that's not even including the Ran the Week also too on top of that. So I think what I'm going to do for the time being, because I'm trying to I've said in the past that I'm not really trying to do a schedule, although there are some shows that pretty much follow a schedule due to the convenience of when I can record them. Falls Count Anywhere typically is recorded on Tuesday nights with Rob, and we release it Wednesday morning. Typically, I would do, obviously, EJ Ran in a Week is done for Monday. But I don't have a set schedule for these shows. I wouldn't mind the schedule, but sometimes, especially the shows where I'm not, especially the shows that I'm not that I share time with, like the NBA show with Greg, for example. It's harder to do that because like he also works and he also travels to work, and sometimes we were doing Tuesdays for a good chunk of the year, and then the last couple of weeks we've been doing Thursday shows. So it's one of those things where like I don't mind having content on the feed at least 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at least. We've seen episodes on Sundays now with my sons. But there's no schedule really. Some shows have schedules, and some shows are set in the way, especially the pre-recorded shows are set. But I haven't been consistent with the solo shows, as you know, for the last 6 months, honestly, because I've been, I would go like 2 months without doing a solo show, and I would like to get back to doing solo shows again weekly. I was at one point doing twice a week. I was doing I think a Tuesday and a Friday rotation of the solo shows at the time. I did think about doing that again, but I think what I'm going to attempt to do is do the solo show episode like this one, for Fridays. And technically EJ Ran in a Week is a solo episode, although smaller, but it is technically a solo show in a sense. So we'll kick off the week of the Ran in a Week, of course, and then we'll end the week with the solo show here going forward. We'll see if that works going forward. But there's a lot of content that's coming down the pike, of course. It's people are really enjoying it. The downloads have increased tremendously. I saw a number recently. I was looking at some of the numbers, and I don't really look at numbers normally. I just record and just go whatever. But there was actually a little inside baseball here. There's been a 75% increase in listenership the last 2 months. So I'm very, very happy to see that. So guys, thank you so much for once again for supporting the podcast, supporting all the content. I don't do this for money. I don't do this for fame. I do this because I love doing it. It's my therapy. I'll say it over and over again. This show is my therapy. So I appreciate you guys stepping in and just enjoying the work we do here and I do here, and people who contribute to this podcast on a weekly basis. Thank you so much for supporting all of us. Not just me, but all of us and our work. So, all right. So, I just realized I'm turning 46 in 2 weeks. When this recording drops, I'll be 2 weeks away from turning 46. And it made me think, like, wow, I'm turning 46. 46 is not really a special year. It's not 50 or 40 or 45 like last year, or But what 46 for me is it's really a it's figuring out and realizing that, oh my, I'm actually closer to 50 years old than I am to 40. I am definitely middle-aged at this point now. Now, I don't look at, people say I look like I'm in my late 30s, mid-30s. I appreciate that. Being a black man could be an advantage. Being one fourth Asian, 1/8 Asian helps a lot too. Also, having Asian heritage in my family as well too helps a lot. But people get it. I think it's shocking to me now, especially that I'm 46. I'm turning 46, in the fact that the last 6 years have gone really fast, and a lot of that was due to the pandemic. Okay, when 2020 happened, that whole process, even in the later parts of the pandemic, because we were still experiencing the pandemic even into 2021, in 2022, and even parts of 2023. So those 3 years for me were like a blur. We just lived. I feel like we're just trying to survive at that point, just to live and survive and pay our bills and trying to keep everybody healthy. And at least in my case, that was a priority on my end. So when I look at the fact that I'm 45 right now, and I'm turning 46 in 2 weeks, it does shock me, and I am absolutely blessed and thankful to God that I'm able to live on this earth still. There are a lot of people who not made it to this age, and I'm grateful for that, again, and I say that especially too with my situation with my health, which I'm working on, but it's been, especially lately, it's been a challenge, and we'll probably talk about that in another episode down the road. But I've been having a challenge with that lately too as well. To be honest, I've kind of fallen the bag a little bit. I haven't been consistent with my exercise late. The eating has been kind of meh. My fasting has been kind of off kilter a bit too also. But every minute, my goal now is this. First and foremost, my wife and I continue to have a great marriage. Continue to build what we have. 15 years of marriage, 20 years together. Our children, raising those kids, they're now 13 and 9. My oldest son is 1 more year away from going to high school. My youngest son is a year away from turning double digits at 10 years old. Just raising 2 really good, upstanding kids into this world. And but also enjoying the things I do enjoy. Just cutting out the fat, if you will. Things that don't matter, just do away with it. Toxic people in your life. If people are going to challenge you, not challenge you, but if people are going to be a toxic entity in your life, get it out. And I've done that. I've done that in recent years. There's people who I used to be close to and whatnot, and it's slowly fade away because of the energy. I'm big on energy. If you're going to bring negative energy in my life, I don't want to be part of it. I'm sorry. So I'd rather have a smaller circle of friends and family than a big circle of people who may infiltrate my circle and in my space and bring a lot of negative energy. I don't want that. I just don't want that whatsoever. And then I want to enjoy life. Like doing the podcast, of course, the show is therapy for me. I work a really, really great job. It gives me a flexible schedule, makes good money. I want to be able to travel. My wife every year, go to New York every year, do our little traditions here, and enjoy going out to dinner and having friends and family in the village we have here with our friends and family, enjoying that. Every minute I get to live and breathe the air on this planet, it's a blessing. And I want to continue to enjoy that. So that's where my energy is these days. And like I said, 46 around the corner, man. It's crazy. It really is. All right. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class 2026 has been officially announced. And guess who got in finally? Well, I say finally because technically Phil Collins. Let's start here first. Who's going to be my headliner probably? Inducted now the second time as a solo artist. He's running in for Genesis. I say finally because even though this was his first time on the ballot, okay, he's been eligible for at least 15 years. So the rule is once you release your first solo album, 25 years, you're eligible to get into the Hall of Fame after 25 years after your first solo album. So his first album came out in 1981. So he's been eligible since 2006. So it's been actually 20 years. So it's been 20 years he's been eligible to get in. And his health is not the greatest also too. So I remember I think I had Matthew Allen on a podcast back in I think March or February where I stated that listen, Phil Collins' health is not doing that. It's not all that great. you better get his ass in there now. Like he's no doubt a Hall of Famer, first ballot, you want to call it. One of my all-time favorite artists, top 4 artists of all time. Michael, Stevie, Prince, and Phil Collins. So it's about damn time he got in. First off, so hopefully he'll still be around by December when they do the ceremony. Also in there, Iron Maiden got in. I'm not a big Iron Maiden guy, but of course they deserve to get in. They one of the pillars of heavy metal. Oasis, not a big fan of Oasis, but I think Oasis is really overrated in my opinion. This is my opinion. Billy Idol gets in as well too. Joy Division / New Order got in as well. Sade got in as well. Wu-Tang Clan, thank God, first time nominee, they got in as well. My boy Luther Vandross gets in as well. They also announced several inductions for specialized categories. For example, the Musical Excellence Award for Rick Rubin, Linda Creed, Arif Martin, and Jimmy Miller. We have the Early Influence Award, Queen Latifah, MC Lyte, Celia Cruz, Fela Kuti, and Graham Parsons. And then, of course, the Ahmet Artigan Award will go to Ed Sullivan. Of course, like I said, the ceremony is taking place November 14, 2026 at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles. This is a very good class, by the way, for record. But one big omission for this one, again, I'm still shocked, is Mariah Carey. She didn't get in. She's been eligible now for a while. She didn't get in either. For what reason, I do not know. There's a lot of politics in when it comes to the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, even though people deserve to get in the first ballot, Mariah Carey certainly was scorching in the 90s with a lot of hits. And she actually is second all-time behind the Beatles for number 1 Billboard hits. The fact she's not even in yet is atrocious, but that's the politics of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? Speaking of music also too, my updated concert interest 2026 has increased. I think I spoke on Wu-Tang Clan. I was just mentioned a while ago with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, or Sumi induction this year. They're coming down here in September. I'm hoping to go see that show. I know Lionel Richie's coming down here in July. I like to go to that show as well too. Evanescence is coming in June. I'm planning on going to Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson in August. I also just added 10 days after that, 311 is coming down with Dirty Heads on August 30th here in West Palm Beach. That one I'm definitely planning on going with some friends. And then I just saw an announcement a couple days ago that Chris Brown and Usher are touring together. They're coming down here to Miami on December 3rd. Now, I did see the tickets to that show. It is through the roof. So much like Bruno Mars and the struggles there, tickets being through the roof, Chris Brown and Usher also through the roof. So it's going to be a pretty penny. If I want to go to this show, it's going to be a pretty penny. So I'm going to wait to see if the tickets come down a little bit. I mean, I'm not a big Chris Brown fan necessarily, but I do recognize he's probably one of the, if not the biggest entertainer right now living today. Definitely top 3 for me. I'll put Beyonce and Bruno Mars in that conversation. But I'm going for Usher, really, to be honest with you, because Usher, I'm a big fan of Usher. Obviously he's not old, but he's in his late 40s and whatever. I want to see him and these two. It's gonna be a good tour, man. It's gonna be a really good tour. I'm hoping to go, but these I tell you, these ticket prices ain't for the birds, bro. It really ain't for the birds. So we'll see how that plays out, but yeah, that's what really my energy right now going with this in terms of the Usher and Chris Brown. Hopefully, I'll be able to go see them in concert. But I at this point, I'll give it a 50-50 shot right now. I'll go to that show just based on the ticket prices. You know what I mean? What else there? Next week, the Michael Jackson biopic, Michael, hits theaters next Friday. I'm very excited about the show, about the movie rather. You guys know I'm a massive. I don't know if I can say even more massive words, but Michael Jackson is my favorite artist of all time. My favorite musician, my favorite musical artist, musical act of all time. And I'm a big fan. I've been a fan for 44 years. I am someone that has made a lot of friends through the years, through my fanship with him. Friends I still maintain who have come on his podcast regularly through the years. Some of them have actually gotten close to Michael when he was alive. Some of them were people who were actually involved in his legal situations with the allegations, and were on witness lists and stuff. We've had him on this podcast through the years. Stories that have been coming out publicly now, that people now are starting to find out about that, and that I've known about for 20 plus years. So the movie is obviously now the hype is picking up now. My friend Jenny, who actually was on the show, but Jenny Wang was on the show a couple weeks ago. She went to the international premiere in Berlin last week, and now she can't tell me anything about the movie because she's on NDA. So she has not told me anything, and it was just fine because I don't want to know anyway. I want to see the movie fresh anyway. So this, of course, Michael Jackson for many people is a polarizing figure, and I understand that. But once you dive into the information and do the work and read and really understand, things and read court documents and all this stuff, you understand that while he was very eccentric and a little weird, and I get that, he certainly wasn't normal, given his life, how could he be normal? Okay, nothing about his life from the word go was normal. Okay, the trauma he faced was normal. With his dad, and his strict father Joe Jackson, and down to the traumas he accumulated through his hair going on fire and all that stuff. But in terms of like Michael Jackson's polarization of his life and whatnot, people who love him, people who just can't stand the guy, and I get it. But what my goal is for this movie, more than anything else, is I want people who know who he is and know his music and like his music though, but don't understand why he was the way he was. My goal for this movie is to bring them to an understanding of who Michael Jackson was. That's the goal here. Now, I say that knowing that this is going to be sanitized. This is a Graham King production. So if you watch Bohemian Rhapsody, what that came out in 2018, it was mostly right. There was a lot of errors in the movie though. They missed little things here. But if you're a casual fan, you enjoyed the movie. If you're a hardcore Queen fan, you're obviously a little more critical. I'm a hardcore Queen fan, so I was able to pick out a lot of mistakes in the movie. I am 40 times worse than Michael Jackson. So if there are things that get wrong, I'm going to pretty much find out. I'm pretty much going to pick it up pretty quickly. But having said that, the ultimate goal here, this is for the casuals. Again, this is not for us. I remember when I had Jen on the show last month. We said that this movie's not for us. We know the story. We know all the details. We know the court stuff. We know everything that we didn't know. Okay, this is for the casuals. This is not for us. And my goal is to not gatekeep Michael Jackson to potential new fans. Yeah, I was a fan of him first, and yeah. Stop that, dude. No, the base doesn't grow if you're restricting people from getting into the base. But my goal is for this to be people come to understand who Michael Jackson was not only as an artist, which of course that sells itself, but also as a human being. At the core of who he was, Michael Jackson was a good person. I truly believe Michael Jackson was a good person. He was an empath, a strong empath to a fault, but very naive too. Which is why a lot of people who came to his life ended up hurting him. Very naive. But there's also a lot of stuff out there, stories out there now, because now Michael's in the news again. People bring up stories about this and that and new allegations, which is complete bullshit. Obviously, if you go through the research, you'll know that. I'll have people on this podcast coming through the next couple of weeks about talking about that. And you just have to read the documents, read the court documents. It's only, it's all there. It's all there. And Michael Jackson is an economy itself. So he's going to draw both good and bad people from both sides of the angle. But I will say this much. His legacy has taken bumps and bruises here and there. But the reason why his legacy is still thriving 17 years after his passing is because the internet, the information age, has really helped him. And people have pushed back on the narratives that we were once fed. When I was growing up at 13 years old, whatever the media told us who he was, you either took at face value or you changed. It was either or. You either took at face value or you didn't. Whereas now there is really big pushback, and people by default don't trust the media anyway. Okay, whether it's Michael Jackson or anything for that matter, politics, sports, doesn't matter. The media isn't trusted because there is an angle of media that only cared about clicks and aggregation and not getting to the truth. There's obviously good media there too. Also, I'm not saying all media is bad, but there's a lot of media out there that have agendas, and it has created the relationship between the consumer and the publication a distrust there. So my hope is that this movie brings people to understanding about who he is. So like I said, we're gonna have a lot of people. We're gonna have a lot of guests in the next month, 2 months. We have a lot of MJ related content on this show. So look out for that. I mean, it might be a little overkill. We'll see. But I'm looking for the movie next week. I'll have my own review. I plan on doing a maybe I'll do for the random week of the week after, maybe, or maybe I'll do it for a full episode or something. But I will be doing a review of the show of the movie in next week once I see it, and we'll go from there. With that being said, to close the show here, I haven't done top 5 in a long time. Let's bring up my top 5 Michael Jackson songs. Now, I'm not going to say this is not the best songs. This is the songs that I prefer. My top 5 favorite Michael Jackson songs. I'm going to tell you right now, of the 5 songs on here, there's only one song on the 5 that really is a massive hit. Okay? And that's not what you think it is. Right. Number 5 for me is Off the Wall. The song Off the Wall on the Off the Wall album. I love the groove. The background vocals is amazing. Robert Templeton wrote the song. Phenomenal song. It has a nice groove to it. And the vocals, the background vocals are what got me. It's like a cloud. That song was the first song that really set the standard for Michael Jackson's vocal prowess in terms of like what he does his background vocals. The groove, that part, for example, because you see that in other songs like Leave Me Alone, Librarian Girl, Who Is It? The same kind of idea, the vocal idea. And the strength on the background vocals. It's a really laid back song, especially too. So it's number 5, Off the Wall for me. Number 4, Stranger in Moscow, off History. He wrote the song, obviously. He wrote the song in Russia while he was touring Russia in '93 during the worst time of his life. One of the worst times of his life, actually, during the first allegations. And he wrote this song after being in this hotel room where he had thousands of fans chanting his name in the hotel room, and he never felt more alone in his life. Like this is his words. And he wrote the song. I remember hearing the song as a kid at 15 when the album came out, and it was very emotional. I actually cried when I first heard the song. It's a phenomenal song. It's one of the most underrated songs in the entire discography. So just Train to Moscow, number 4, for me, top 5 favorite Michael Jackson songs. Number 3 is Beat It. This is the only song that's big. The big, Billie Jean and this and that. This is the only big song on my list. Most hardcore MJ fans don't like this song, or at least has it low on their list. Most hardcore. I'm not talking about like fans who people. Oh, I like Michael Jackson, no big deal. But I'm talking about hardcore, like me, hardcore. Most hardcore fans will have other songs, and if they have a mainstream song, it won't be this one. Be like a Man in the Mirror, or Billie Jean, or something of that nature. But for some reason, this song, especially in the last 20-something years, and I think I know what it was. It was during the World Music Awards in 2000 when he came to receive an award, the Millennium Award, right? It was in Monaco. And he came out, dressed in this black and a silver, plate and stuff, and the whole crowd's going nuts. You have every celebrity in there looking at him in awe, and Beat It's playing in the background. I think ever since then is when that song really grabbed me. It's like, okay, I get it now. This song, I get it. It was the time. That's what it was. Now the great song it's phenomenal because the song it's soul vocals with rock music. Eddie Van Halen's in the song, obviously. The video is fantastic. It's legendary. I just love the synergy of the song. And people make fun of me all the time because, like, first of all, my MJ friends who are hardcore, like, Beat It, really? Like, yeah. I can't explain it. It's a song I love very much. So, but Beat number 3 for me. Number 2, Earth Song, also on History. This is also the last song he performed before he died during rehearsals in 2009. Earth Song is so unique. It starts slow, obviously, with the the kind of like a ballady part, first couple verses, and then it goes nuts. The chorus is this. That's all it is. There's no real chorus with that. It's a song you sing along to. And this song was huge in Europe in '95. And of course, the end of the song when he goes nuts. What about yesterday? What about us? And the last 2 minutes of the song, that's all you hear. I mean, it's heart-wrenching, that song. Talking about the planet, talking about, how we're not taking the planet and what's going on. My mom used to think that he was questioning God in that song. And I don't know if that's true or not, but the lyrics are very, very poignant. So, and finally, number one, the first number one favorite Michael Jackson song is actually my favorite song of all time, period, is Unbreakable by Michael from the Invincible album, the first song of Invincible. I remember, this is going to sound weird. I remember hearing the song the day I bought the CD, the day it came out. It was October 30th, 2001. And I put on the CD, and the lyrics was very, very bold. It was very, very strong, in your face. The beat was great. Ronnie Jerkins obviously created the beat for Michael. And for some reason, I cried after doing the song, because that song was the pushback. But all he's gone through his years, the criticism, the allegations, and all this stuff, and people was pounding on him. He pushed back to some degree, but this is a song that really pushed back, and he really got arrogant in this song. Saying, I'm unbreakable. You can't hate me. I'm unbreakable. You can't believe you can't conceive it. You can't touch me because I'm untouchable. And this song always, I remember that day I heard it, I was like, dude, this is the song. And that beat is sick, though. And that beat is sick also, too. And of course, and on top of that, you have one of my two favorite rappers of all time on the song, Notorious B.I.G. in there, that they cut and pasted his vocal from another song, because he had passed away. When the song came out, he already had passed away. But Unbreakable is my favorite Michael Jackson song. Not only my favorite Michael Jackson song, it's my favorite song of all time, period. So, again, 5, Off the Wall. 4, Stranger in Moscow. 3, Beat It. 2, Earth Song. And number 1, Unbreakable. Now, one of my honorable mentions here, I'll throw you some here. Speed Demon is up in that conversation for me. I'll throw in Leave Me Alone off Bad as well. Both songs off Bad. Why You Want to Trip on Me from Dangerous is up there in my top 10. Fall Again, which is actually an unreleased song, is on my top 10 as well, too, also. And then number 10 for me really gets weird, because it goes between Scream and Don't Stop to Get Enough, and, They Don't Care About Us. It's like a mixed bag of songs in there. But those are the songs that really are in the conversation. Butterflies is in the conversation, too, was also a top 10 song for me. But my 5 are my 5. The top 5 is my set 5. The next 5 after that is a mishmash. So I'll say that much. So anyway, that will do it for today's show. Once again, dated, recording this again, April 16th, 2026. I hope you guys did your taxes. And we're going to, like I said, we'll do the random week on Mondays, and we'll do a solo episode on Fridays and build around the show from there. So again, I'm on X at EJ Christian 7, Earnestly Podcast across all podcast catchers. Enjoy all the content coming down the pike, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Later.